We look at everything from a surface level. There are things that are so much more ingrained that you won't know. There are a lot of blemishes and stains on your brain that you cannot see. People don't think the way they think for no reason. They think the way they think because how they were taught, how they were raised, and what they've seen. Their environments, the places they come from, and the things they were shown. It's why they become who they are today.
Welcome to the Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast, starring Q the Boss.
Yo, 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 yo. Welcome back to another episode of Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast. They call me Q the Boss. Guys, today, I want people to call in today. We have a call-in number. And the reason why we have a call-in number today is because I want you guys to be engaged with this episode. Today, I'm going to be vulnerable, right? And it's not easy being vulnerable, especially as a man. We're taught not to be, right? Today, we're talking about how people suffer in silence, how they go through things, but they don't talk about it, how they hoard feelings and emotions and ultimately go crazy in their own head, right? This is what I want to talk about today. Hoarding feelings and allowing yourself. Today we're talking about being vulnerable, guys. For those who are on my live today, I want someone to call in. If you got something right now on your mind and your conscience and you want to get it off, let's get it off right now. Call in 516-253-1150. Today we're talking about suffering in silence. Suffering in silence, guys. We're talking about this today. I want to talk about this particular topic because I genuinely believe more people need to be able to be vulnerable and express emotions and feelings, right? Check yours. Check his. Yeah, check his. But again, if we're not allowed to be vulnerable, we can't work on ourselves or fix anything. And that's a major dilemma. I'm noticing that more people in today's society tend to not realize that when you're not expressing yourself, you start hoarding feelings. And by hoarding feelings, all you're doing is holding back the releasing of emotions. There are a lot of people who've been abused verbally, mentally, physically, traumatic. They have so much issues. So what happens is now they sit in moments and they suffer in their own mind. And they literally make themselves go crazy. Sometimes when you see some people who overly act aggressive, that is like a displaced anger. They're mad at something else, but they bring it out in this particular matter because they don't release energy. When you see some people overreact, it's because they haven't released. We got to have this conversation. We got to stop suffering in silence. Men, I need you to be vulnerable and allow yourself to feel, because if you don't feel, you'll never heal. And the problem with not being allowed to feel, you won't heal. I'm going to tell you a story. There was a young man that came in my shop one day, and I was talking to his mother. And while we were talking to his mother, if you don't see it, leave it. We were talking to his mother. The mother said she don't violate her son. She don't disrespect her son. And I told her, I said, here's the dilemma. A lot of women verbally abuse their sons. She didn't want to hear it. I said, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to say this again. For those who agree with what I'm saying, run these likes up, run the likes up, run the likes up. A lot of women verbally abuse their children. Verbally abuse them, right? And I'm going to say this on record. And now here's this narrative. I want you to get this good. A lot of women verbally abuse their sons and daughters. What happens is, especially in a son's case, I don't know about a woman's case, but I know I'm speaking from a son's perspective. If I grew up and my mother verbally abused me, right? The moment I meet a woman and she say things remotely to what my mom said, it becomes triggers for me. Why do it become triggers? Is because it's things that I wasn't able to say to my mom that I'm more likely to say to her because this is what I wanted to say to my mom. And I'm telling you from experience, a lot of people literally hold and hoard feelings and they get older and walk into their adult years with their same traumas. And then we say these people are crazy. These people ain't crazy. These people have never been able to release. So if you had a wound, right, that hasn't healed in 30 years, I think it'll be infected also. Look at that statement again. If you have a wound that hasn't been cleaned or healed for over 30 years, of course you'll see the issue, right? And this is what we do. We don't talk about the real things that matter. We talk about the wrong agendas. When you talk about people, and I say this again, your mother verbally abused you to the point now that you're in your adult years, right? All you do is become, this is how you create a narcissist, right? Self-absorbed people. A lot of times when you meet self-absorbed people, they come from environments that were never about them. So they've gotten their older years, it became all about them, right? Some people have created defense mechanisms and means of survival and to get over some of their traumas because we don't talk about these things, right? We suffer in silence. Too many people right now are suffering in silence, right? I can create stories to tell you like things that go on in people's heads that you'll never guess because we only look from a physical standpoint. A lot of people may look healthy but might not be healthy at all. Because I'm gonna tell you something, a healthy body don't look healthy just on the outside, but what about the internal? But this is what we don't talk about. Some of the most fit guys are fit just because of genetics. But the human brain is what you can't see. If you see what this mind has gone through, you'll see why it behaves as such. But we always don't allow people to heal. So now it becomes my triggers. When I start having certain conversations, certain things trigger old feelings in me because of how I was raised or how I was brought up. So now what I do is, as a man, I was taught that you don't speak, you don't talk, you don't say anything. So now what I'm doing, I'm suffering in silence. Hoarding emotions and hoarding feelings. Getting older, starting to realize like, look, what is wrong with me? For my men on my live right now, let's be honest. Have you ever sat in a room by yourself and wondered like, what's wrong with me? Have you ever did that? Have you ever said, why am I so unhappy, ladies and gentlemen? Have you ever said, even if I'm winning, I feel like I'm not doing good? Have you ever suffered from something called imposter syndrome? Have you? But if you had these conversations, a lot of people don't want to hear it because why? We don't talk to we have the meat and potatoes, but there's a lot more that should be on that plate. Everything is not as transparent as we would like to believe it is. There are humans right now who are literally faced with issues every day from they're genetically cursed. Genetically cursed. You say, how? I say, you have people right now who are born with generational curse. Generational curse. Most people don't even know that you can pass on substance abuse through your gene pool. They don't even know that. So when you see some of these people that's run into substance, you might say, you know what? This person is, my mother might have been a crackhead, but I smoke weed. But when you look at it, you both are codependent on a substance. So it's neither one is any different. But you're gonna say because it's weed and it's because it's crack is different. But substance is substance. We can't justify substance abuse. Substance abuse is just substance abuse. If you ate a cake and I ate candy, they're both sweets. But we create the wrong narrative, right? Why do we do that? Because a lot of us do not want to be held accountable for any decision we make. I'm gonna go into stories right now. Give me a story. I was talking to a particular young guy, and while we were talking, he said to me, there are things you'll never be able to understand about me. So I looked at him in his face and I said, of course I won't understand if you don't tell me. So he said, but real men don't talk. And I said, the only person that could have told you that is maybe your mother because she didn't want you to tell the things that she was saying to you, right? Keeping your life private. A lot of people keep their sickness private. Every family has their hidden secrets, right? So she told you don't tell these things because she didn't want to look crazy. But in retrospect, or your dad told you don't say that because he didn't want to look crazy. But in reality, you sit back and evaluate a lot of people, they're fighting with their own inner demons. We all have them, right? And this is what we don't talk about. A lot of people have problems, but we hoard everything we go through. Your life is like gonna always be like an emotional roller coaster, right? There is no straight ups, it's left, rights, ups, downs. And it's gonna always be like that, right? A lot of times we don't acknowledge that people really suffer in silence, right? They sit in their own head and they genuinely believe that life is gonna happen for them because of the fact that they're gonna figure it out. But sometimes in life, things aren't made for you to figure it out. Sometimes it's about you talking about it so other people can help you figure it out. Life is always about seeking help. You cannot be an island by yourself for the rest of your life. There are people who are literally on an island all by themselves every single day, wonder why they're alone. We're choosing to be alone. Our decision making is poor. It doesn't make sense when you really sit back and evaluate a human. A human needs other humans to intermingle in order to stay sane. No person can become this great individual without being around others. Ideas are always supposed to be shared. Conversations are supposed to be had. But a lot of us suffer in silence. Think of this narrative. A lot of times growing up in my life, I felt alone. And was I alone? I would like to believe I was, or did I choose to be alone? I would say 50-50, and the reason why I say 50-50 is because I was never taught that you're supposed to be able to speak on certain aspects of your life. So for me growing up, it was like more so the alpha man is the man that can hoard and hide emotions. But does that really make you an alpha? Does that make you strong? I said on my album, we're measured by the strength by showing that we're strong when we're not strong. We measure our strength by showing we're strong when we're not strong. Let me say that again. We measure our strength by showing we're strong when we're not strong. And that's what we acknowledge that a person is strong because of the fact that they can endure pain. But at a certain point in life, anyone will break. You can't sit there and keep suffering in silence, not acknowledging anything. One thing you must understand is vulnerability is the catalyst for strength. A vulnerable person has more strength than a person that's not. You're not strong because you don't speak on what's going on in your personal life. Yes, be selective, but at the end of the day, you have to find an outlet. I genuinely believe this on record. Women outlive men because of the fact that they always found an outlet to speak to. You always hear stuff like people die from things that are stress-related causes. Stress-related causes. But we don't acknowledge that this person may have just died from stress. We all have problems. But again, we're not going to sit back and laugh at each other. I know I won't, because I know for a fact that we need each other. I say this on record every day. I'm a strong man, but I am nothing standing next to not a queen. I need a queen next to me. I'm a strong man and I know I need friends. I'm a strong man and I know I need people that's in my life that's actually telling me about myself. But again, you're not strong because you put a bunch of weak individuals around you. You are a representation of who's around you, right? But then what we do is this, we choose to find the people that are allowing us to fail because we suffer in silence. You're not telling what's wrong. Right? I know a young guy and had a lot of relationship problems, a lot. To the point where I'm sitting down asking him every day what he's going through. He's not telling me. This young guy is a friend of mine. He's a real friend of mine, genuine friend, known him for a very long time. He never told me what was going on. One day he pops up at the shop. His hand is cut. So I'm like, yo, what happened to your hand? He said his girl pulled a knife. He got into a fight with the girlfriend. He grabbed the knife from her and he cut the tendons in his hand. I told him it's time to leave the girl alone. But beyond my knowledge, he felt very weak without her. his codependency became the need for her. A lot of times men and women always acknowledge that women have something called daddy issues. The one thing we never acknowledge is the fact that men can have mommy issues. The same way a girl can have mommy issues. The same way a boy can have mommy issues or daddy issues, all both around the board. Women and men can have both mommy and daddy issues. So this particular man had mommy issues. At a young age, his mother told him to move out. Long story short, he came after his hand was cut. We talked. I told him to leave the girl alone. I told him I would pay for him to take a trip to get away from the girl. I said, you might need to just do a detox. You might just have to do something cold turkey, disappear, come back in 2 weeks, and then we'll see how we go from there. I said, being next to her and sitting in a room every day, you're going to call her. The relationship was so toxic to the point where he thought that the toxic relationship was normal. He was suffering in silence, scared to speak on what he was going through emotionally, mentally, physically, everywhere around the board. And I kept trying to pull it from him and pry it from him. Anyone who understands West Indian men know that West Indian men are some of the most prideful people I've ever met in my life. Black men are some of the most prideful people I've ever met in my life. To the point where they will literally suffer in silence. This particular man was suffering in silence so bad and never spoke, to the point that him and the woman killed it. The woman tried to commit suicide. She went into the ocean. He couldn't swim, but he didn't want the girl to die. He went into the ocean behind her, trying to save her, and they both lost their life. And this is a real friend of mine. No make-believe, no crazy story. That's my real friend. My real friend. Like my brother. And I watched this happen right before my eyes, and I watched the other people every time he told his story about the girlfriend, they were laughing at him. They laughed at him. This man was suffering in silence. And it's almost bringing me to a tear to think about this. And this is a sad story that I hate to say this, that a lot of men are suffering in silence because the way we're taught wrong. Sitting back watching this man like literally die. And then a part of me sits down every day wondering, could I have done something? Could I have done something? And the second part of me wonders, did I do enough? So I ask everybody on this live right now, we talk about life. You know, is there somebody in your life right now maybe you should be checking on? Maybe you should be calling on? Maybe you should stop laughing at and ask them, are you okay? Kings and queens, I ask you on my live today, is your mental health good? We're not talking about economic health. Is your mental health good? How is your mentality? How is your mind today? Are you okay? We don't talk about that. My kings and queens on my live today, I ask you, how is your mental health? Are you okay? Are you speaking positive over your life? Are you speaking productivity? Are you okay? Because for the first time in my life, I witnessed one of my friends literally die, suffering in silence because of the fact that he didn't want to acknowledge that the relationship got so past him to the point where he couldn't see himself without the girl. He tried to save this particular girl and died trying to save her. This is a true story. This is not no make-believe. You can look him up, and I'm going to say his name. His name is Keelan Darnell Ramsey. That's my friend. I watched him die behind a relationship. And this is what we don't talk about, right? One of my guys just said, I'm surviving, right? But I'm far from okay. And I want you to call in right now, my brother. Call in right now, 516-253-1150. Call in right now, Greg. Let's talk about it. 516-253-1150. Let's call somebody, call in right now. Let's talk about it. And this ain't about no funny crap. This is me checking up on my brother, saying, I want to know if you're okay, and I want you to talk about what you're going through, because it is better that you release, and if anybody's laughing at you, they're the real problem. They're the clowns. Because it's not funny to laugh at someone for going through something. We're all human and we suffer, and a lot of us are suffering in silence to the point where it's not making sense. A lot of us are dying on the inside, but look so healthy on the outside. That's like a piece of chicken that's not fully cooked through. Caller.
What's good, bro? It's great.
What's going on, my guy? Talk to me.
I'm all right, man.
Talk to me. What you going through, bro?
Man, just dealing with life, man. That's about it. I'm just staying afloat and all that.
We don't.
It's been dealing with life, man.
Listen.
I just keep pushing, but mentally, what I'm saying, I'm not okay. You know what I mean? I cry in silence, man. I just be trying to just keep moving forward, but not having nobody to really express myself or talk to makes it difficult.
You know the one thing. I don't know if you mind me talking straight to you.
Yeah, of course. Come
okay,
on, man.
Okay, no, still I gotta talk. I witnessed you lose your little brother, and I know
Yeah.
at times, you hurt, and I just want you to know that I'm here as your brother. I love you, and I know for a fact what he meant to you, and I know it affects you more than you give light, and I know you're going through something yourself, right? But I just want you to know we here for you, bro. All this laughing, giggle, that's not real, bro. That's not human. It is inhuman to not feel for another person, bro. Look at how sick we've become to the point where we've been taught that the healthiest relationship that we can have with each other is to laugh at each other. But my brother need to be pulled up.
Real.
Talk, bro. I want you to get something off your chest today that you feel that you need to talk about, bro. Don't just generically talk. I'll tell you what I'm going through. Want me to tell you something? I'm having a problem.
Yeah,
I'm having a problem with my daughter's mother. She won't allow me to see my kid. Sometimes I'm depressed about it because of the fact that I feel like I give more than enough money, but yet and still the woman don't want to allow the relationship. I'm tired of fighting. I don't want to go to family court because I don't believe that someone did not tell me or help me make this child should tell me how I should be in my child's life. I don't think an outsider should be able to do that. I think we're two grown-ups. We should be allowing each other to have a relationship with our child.
Well, Q, you know me for years, man. I went through the same thing. I'm still going through it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, child support be raping my pockets. It's hard for me to even survive, you know what I'm saying? Like, without me having a side hustle. Because, like, child support, they're not playing fair. Like, it's not designed for the fathers or none of that.
Talk about it.
And I have a great relationship with my son.
I know.
But his mother, she harbored resentment. You know what I'm saying? So she utilized my son as a way to hurt me.
Wow.
And I've been dealing with that for years. Like, if anybody know, you know.
I know 100%. I know 100%.
And I feel like, like you said, like, two adults should be able to handle the situation outside of court without having, these white folks in our business and stuff like that. Because 9 times out of 10, they're not really there to help us as fathers.
Agree.
You know what I'm saying? They there to basically make the situation much worse.
Can I say something to you that I know you ain't hear from a man probably for a while?
What's that?
I love you.
Right? I love you too, bro.
And I want you to hear this too. No matter the circumstance, I just want you to know I'm proud of you because of the fact that I keep seeing you not giving up. You keep fighting. My guy, I told him, I said,
I ain't got a choice, man.
Listen, a lot of people do. A lot of people ain't fighting. A lot of people are giving up. A lot of people are tapping out. A lot of people are, the concept of this conversation today is about suffering in silence. A lot of people are fighting their own head, bro. They fight themselves. The mental warfare is the worst battle that any human could be involved in. Because the person on the other side of the field is yourself. So when you look at the person across from you, it's you. And it's hard because you love the person across from the other side of the field and you fighting that person. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy, my brother. And I know for a fact, I go through it all the time. Man, bro. And I want you to know I feel for you, bro. Trust me. And believe you me, you were every bit in my prayers. And definitely we gotta link up, bro, because it's just like I got a mental men's health awareness clinic that's coming out on the 17th. I need you there. It's a Sunday. I want the men to be there. My homegirl Karen Big B, I'm gonna say her name, big sister, she actually acknowledged something that she said she think I should do, and I'm giving her flowers, right? Because she definitely told me, Q, you should do this event. And I said, you know what? A lot of men need spaces where they feel healthy, where they can have a healthy conversation and talk about things that they're going through. So I'm sending you the invite. I want you to be there. Is March 17th is a Sunday. I'll give you RSVP.
Okay,
Do the event.
I'll definitely be there.
Now you need to be there. I'm telling you, it's gonna be every bit of worth it. Every bit of worth it. I tell you, tell a friend, tell Tay, tell everybody to pull up, bro. It's gonna be amazing. I'm telling you, I'm bringing all the guns.
I got you, bro. I'll be there.
And you can be vulnerable. You're gonna be able to talk. Have a bunch of people. We're creating this whole event thing. I'm creating my own men's group of support, and that's what I'm creating it for. So I need you to be there.
Nah, I'll definitely be there.
Oh my God, we're gonna talk more. All right.
All right, bro. I appreciate you for having me.
You're ready, bro. Listen, guys, we sitting down, we having these conversations, man, and we saying these things. There's a lot of people right now who are suffering in silence. For those who are on my live right now, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, run those likes up. Run the likes up right now. Run the likes up. Let's wake up, everybody. I need to hear this conversation. See, sometimes when we sit down and we have our regular conversations, today's about talking about something trill and real. Run the likes up, run the likes up, run the likes up. Tap the screen, tap the screen, tap the screen. What we doing today is this. I'm allowing people to call in, and I'm allowing them to get a moment to vent about something they're personally going through. And this is a judgment-free zone. There is no judging. I don't care. Get it off your chest. It is better you release than you hold back and hoard. It's not about laughing. It's not about joking. It's about being vulnerable and allowing yourself to heal. Everyone is going through something to the point where if you don't acknowledge that you're going through something, it's gonna eat you alive. It's like having a cancer and you don't acknowledge the cancer is there. The cancer is there. And if you don't ignoring it, it's only gonna get worse. Right now, it may be stage 1. But by the time you blink, it's stage 4 because you never took care of it. Someone call in right now. Call in right now. 516-253-1150. One more time. 516-253-1150. Run the likes up, guys. Run the likes up. Tap that screen. We need more people to hear this conversation. Listen, there are a lot of people right now sitting down every day in their own head, right? The traumas they've been through, the family structures that they've been through. When I say structures, I mean they're a family that's fighting against their own family. There are people who carry your last name who's your biggest enemies. Let me say that again. There are people who carry your last name that's your worst enemy. There are people who came from the same womb as you that's your biggest enemy. Sometimes your biggest critics are the ones who don't want to see you win. They criticize you because they don't want to see you win. And this is the reality. But when we talk about these things, people getting their feelings. Someone call in right now to get something off their chest. I created this platform today for you. Let's get it. Caller, what's going on, caller?
What's going on, Q? It's O'Day.
O'Day, what's going on, brother? What you going through, O'Day?
Nothing much. Nothing much. I'm just calling in just to say what up, and I appreciate what you do. What you do, you bring us up.
I appreciate that, my brother. Thank you so much for that, man. Let me give you some flowers, bro.
All right.
I appreciate you, man.
All right.
Listen, that's my guy. Listen, but we sitting down, we having this real discussion today. Today, we're acknowledging that there are people that are suffering in silence. We got to build the strength and the courage to be strong. The strength is in actually speaking on what you're going through. The strength is not in hiding, because the hardest part about surviving anything is the recovery process. That is the hardest phase of going through anything. It's the recovery that people don't talk about. The recovery. Recovering from trauma, recovering from a lot of things. I used to suffer from something called survivor's remorse or survivor's guilt. Feeling like I'm not helping people enough. Thinking I should be doing a lot more. I'm a genuine person if you know me. Very genuine. I tell people my heart because I can't lie to someone I love. Let me say that again. I tell people my heart because I can't lie to someone I love. When I meet someone from day one, I'm the type of person that love you. It's on you to lose my love. I care about people genuinely, wholeheartedly, 110%. I don't know how to start a problem with someone. If I have a problem with someone, best to believe they've done something to me that I had to cut them off. I don't look for problems. But again, we're in a world right now where you have people who are literally trying to figure out how to survive with their child by themselves, and we're in here making everything about ourselves. They're trying to figure out how to survive. Imagine being a single mother with 2 to 3 babies and you don't have no income. Imagine trying to figure it out. And you know what they're going to say? She should have never had all those kids. I'm going to say her father should have been there teaching her how she should have been loved. You look at things from the surface level, but you don't look at things from the internal levels. Look again, you'll see a girl, multiple baby fathers, laughing at her. She should have never had all those kids. Surface level answer. Mental aspect, her father should have been there showing her what love looked like, and she would have never been running to men looking for love. But if you say this, you're so wrong. You're so wrong, but it's the truth. We look at everything from a surface level. There are things that are so much more ingrained that you won't know. There are a lot of blemishes and stains on your brain that you cannot see. People don't think the way they think for no reason. They think the way they think because how they were taught, how they were raised, and what they've seen. Their environments, the places they come from, and the things they were shown. It's why they become who they are today. We don't acknowledge the fact that people are really going through a lot of problems. I'm going to say this on record. A guy asked me the other day, your dad didn't raise you. I said, no. He said, was it hard for you to forgive your father? I said, no. I said, at first it was. But afterwards, it got easier. He said, why? I said, because I always look at how I would want my father in the heavens to forgive me. So I had to forgive him. And secondly, when you look at my father's situation, my father's father left him. My father left us. But I said, someone has to break the cycle. So I decided to break the cycle. And you know how I further broke the cycle? By not holding him to who he used to be, but by embracing who he has become today. Sometimes you have to love on people who don't even know what love looks like. Some people cannot receive love because they don't know what it even entails. From the surface level, you may think that love is giving you gifts. Someone else psychologically believes that love is just telling them everything is okay. Some people don't want nothing from you. They just want support. They just want to know that someone got their back. The world is so selfish to the point where we look at everything for ourselves. I said this again. I want you to catch this. I am not praying for myself no more. I don't pray for myself no more. I do so much by people that I'm gonna work so hard for others that they're gonna feel obligated to pray for me. Let me say that again. I don't pray for myself no more. I'm gonna work so hard for others that they feel obligated to pray for me. Now that's the ultimate sign of gratitude. It's easy to beg for what you want for yourself. It's easy to ask God for what you want. What about in your worst moments, right? You're still asking God to help out others. The ultimate sign of gratitude. The ultimate sign of gratitude. Again, I said, even in my darkest moments, I'm still gonna pray for others. I'm not gonna make it about me anymore. We've done that for too long. We made everything about ourselves to the point where we have no empathy or sympathy for the world. None. Everyone is about self, self-preservation, self-sufficient. And this is the problem. Ladies and gentlemen, the world is so expensive that we need each other, men and women. So regardless of what you say, you have to acknowledge reality because delusion has become the reality today. We're delusional people. I need women and I'm a strong man. I know I need a woman. But for me to lie to you, that'd be a foolish play. I know a woman right now who's currently struggling financially and still screaming at the top of her lungs how she don't need a man. But I'm sitting here acknowledging to her, if you had a man, y'all could be cutting the bills in half and you could be in a better financial position. But maybe from the surface level, it sounds that easy. The answer's easy. But the answer may be she's been hurt so much, she don't know how to receive love from a man. So sometimes, ladies, when you hear these women talking about that, you got to be careful because some of them don't know how to receive love. They're hurt. A hit dog always hollers. Did you hear that again? A hit dog always hollers. So the way of them coping with their problem is acting like their problem don't exist. By saying things like, I don't need a man. I don't need a woman. That is an extreme level of a defense mechanism. We've created these things. We going listening to things that don't matter. You have to preserve your mentalities, ladies and gentlemen, in order for you to be great. You have to preserve your mentality. You have to be mindful of what you're entertaining. You got to be careful who you're around. You got to be careful of the environment you're going to, because in your darkest moments, right, as I was just talking to my brother Greg, in your darkest moments, the devil will attack you more. You become more vulnerable. He will eat you alive, feeding your mind foolishness, telling you things you should be doing to yourself. The worst wound in life is a self-inflicted wound. That is the worst wound because it's avoidable, but yet still we don't see it because we get so accustomed to self-sabotaging that we don't see that we constantly self-sabotaging ourselves. It's called hurt. Hurt people, but hurt people also hurt themselves. But we don't talk about that. We say all the wrong things. They say hurt people, but what about the hurt people that's hurting themselves? They're suffering in silence, mentally going through it. Traumatic. A lot of us come from a lot of different situations where we don't want to acknowledge that a lot of us have issues. We have issues. I have a lot of unfulfilled dreams. I have a lot of unfulfilled friendships. I have a lot of things in my mind, right, that I wonder about a lot, right? And I'm a constantly thinking man. And as a thinking man, I'm always thinking. My one pet peeve is I overthink. I'm an overthinker, which it could work in my advantage, but it could also work at my disadvantage. And that's the problem. We got to talk about the things that matter. Someone call in right now, talk about something they're suffering with right now so we can get off our chest. My brother was able to call in and talk about something he's going through. And I want to tell you, I thank you for your vulnerability. I thank you for your vulnerability. Someone call in right now, 516-253-1150. Caller, what's going on, caller?
Hi, this is Sharon Roy. I don't know if you need I saw you a long time ago. You used to work at the barbershop or had a barbershop, right?
Yeah, I still have the barbershop.
Oh, you do? I used to work next door.
Okay.
At the eyeglass place.
Oh, so I do remember
that's what you seem familiar.
Yes. How you been? How's everything?
I had 2 brain surgeries. So
wow.
I'm still recovering. I had one in May 16th, and then I had an emergency one because it grew back and I had to redo it twice as big. When was it? October 17th.
Wow. How you feeling these days?
I had to learn how to walk again, talk again, see again because I had double vision, and I didn't have my 3-year-old the whole time because I wasn't able to take care of her. So she was between her grandparents, her dad, and my mom. But since I learned how to walk, I don't know what happened after brain surgery. I guess I was on steroids a lot, but my whole family doesn't talk to me anymore. They all block me.
Wow.
So it's like they just left me. So.
Wow. Oof.
But I just wanted to touch on some things you say. It's like a lot of times someone that is closest to you is the hardest from that. Like, I feel like the hardest part was that it was my mom who doesn't talk to me and my siblings or anyone that they were all on my life insurance. They were all always important to me. I always went on my way for them. I even had my niece living with me. I bought her a car. I took care of her. And when I woke up from surgery, they all just moved away. And I was left the car that I bought for my niece, paying the car note like I always done. But now after surgery, I have to still pay for it. So God has a way of making it bearable. I was about to in danger of losing my home.
Yes.
I didn't know how I was going to pay for everything, and I started letting my friend's daughter borrow the car,
Yes.
and it was a blessing in disguise because she had totaled the car and she was okay, thank God. But I used to say, "What am I going to do to the car?" And
Yes.
Geico paid it off, so
Wow.
I didn't have to pay for it anymore. But the surgery was hard, but it was worth it. It literally opened my mind to see what was around me. Like everyone I was taking care of, I didn't use my salary for me. All of my money went to take care of everyone in my family. And now it's like such a relief that I can finally go to Starbucks without spending $60. I could just buy a cup of coffee. Not that I can drink coffee anymore because I get headaches. But the
Wow.
point is, I was just always taking care of everyone. I never stopped to ever take care of myself. So
Wow. Wow. My
it's
sister,
just difficult. Even now with my daughter, it's just hard. But I'm okay.
listen, my sister, I want to thank you so much for your vulnerability. I'm going to reach out to you when we get off this live, too. I'm going to reach out to you later today. Matter of fact, DM me right now on Instagram.
Okay.
All right.
But anybody else who's going through something, I just want to say, like, if I can go through this and still come out on the other side, okay. Every day is hard, but I don't give up any day. And even now, my face is half numb, and I can't regulate the temperature on half my body. But I don't regret being here, and I don't regret what's happened to me. I feel like it was a blessing in disguise because although it's hard to live the way I live now, it's definitely a lot better than carrying all the weight of those people. Just going through that for almost 40 years.
Wow.
Just I feel a lot better in 2024. So just keep hope alive.
Wow.
And no matter what you're going through, somebody has it worse. Even me, no matter what I'm going through, there's people. I had a benign brain tumor. Some people have cancer, so
Wow.
I'm happy that I was able to remove part of it. I still have half of it, and I'm in radiation, but I'm still happy, and I'm very blessed.
Wow.
So, thank you.
My sister, I love you, and I just want to say thank you for your vulnerability. And wow. Reach out to me on Instagram, all right?
Okay.
All right.
Enjoy.
Wow. Think of her. Wow. That's a strong girl, man. That's a strong girl. Caller, what's going on, caller? Caller.
Hey, how you doing? This is Karen Bigby. I just wanted to hello?
Yeah, I'm listening. How you doing, Miss Karen?
Hi, how are you? I'm so happy you're taking on this assignment to help other men. It's so necessary for men to have an open space where they could be vulnerable, where they could be real, where they can let out their emotions because they already have the world on their shoulders, dealing with everyday life. I'm a woman.
Yes.
We have those safe spaces that we can go to for healing. So I thank you for this. And I will be sharing this event with every man that I know because it is necessary. It really, really is. So I applaud you for doing this. I really do.
Listen, I'm going to be honest with you, and I want to say this on my live. God put it on Mrs. Karen's spirit to tell me to do this event. And she didn't say do it once. She didn't say do it twice. She told me 3 times. And on the 3rd time, I called my guy and I said, let's do it. You know, she told me to do this event multiples of times. And now I'm going to listen to her words and I'm going to do it. I think it's mental. You know, guys, we have a men's mental health awareness clinic that I'm doing March 17th. It's a Sunday, March 17th. RSVP. You can go through the Eventbrite link. You can actually book it. It's going to be amazing because there's going to be a lot of strong men in the room helping encourage our brothers. Because here's the narrative. If you kicking people while they're down, that means that you're weaker. Kicking someone when they're down shows no strength. You know, we want to lift up our brothers. We want to help our sisters. In order for us to be better families, we got to help each other become better men. And it's just a reality, right? She put on my spirit, but a girl just called it a minute ago. And that it touched me. You know, it touched me. And I just want to acknowledge that touched me. You know, there are a lot of people going through so much, but we don't want to see what we're going through. We make everything about us. We don't see others' problems. We don't acknowledge that there's other people going through so much more, right? But then when we have these conversations, right? We say things like, "Oh, because you don't understand my problems," and I'm like, "Listen, we all have problems, but the fact of the matter is, we got to be willing to be sometimes a vessel for others." And God is ordering my steps for me to get into a space where now I want to create this platform, right? We're creating this, it's called the Empowered Dynasty Men's Mental Health Clinic that we're doing. And we're going to start this, we're going to do this on a regular where men can meet up from all walks in life. And we can meet up. We're going to make this event bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where we're able to talk about men's mental health. God is putting this on my conscience to talk about this and to do it, because Miss Karen been telling me for a long time to do it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. And I thank God that she see the vision in me and see that I actually can do it, because sometimes you'll be surprised at who you can encourage by just planting a seed. And I just want to know the seed was planted in my mind to do this event. This event is going to be March 17th, Sunday, March 17th. RSVP, the link will be in my bio. The link will be everywhere. We're going to share this flyer everywhere. RSVP through Eventbrite is going to be big. We're trying to get this thing so big to the point where we're getting thousands of people in a room, and we're going to make it bigger and bigger and bigger, ultimately bringing our men and women together into a room to doing both. The first one we're doing is the men's mental health one. Then we're going to do the women's mental health one. We're going to do both. My first one I'm doing is the men's mental health one. Then we're going to come back and we're going to do the women's mental health one. So let's just push the men's one, get them in a room, and then we're going to do the women's mental health one. And this is what we're going to start doing. God has given me a platform to talk about things that people want, they're respecting. And I'm going to use this gift to not to my advantage, but I'm going to do it to do the Lord's work. I know my people are suffering in silence. A lot of us have a lot of trauma. A lot of us have a lot of psychological issues that we need to acknowledge. There are underlying issues when people are misbehaving. When you see a person act very irate for something very small, that is called displaced anger. That person has bigger issues that you cannot see. There are a lot of underlying issues that we got to start talking about. There are people who are unhappy when they look in the mirror. They don't like what they see. Some of the most beautiful people on earth don't even like when they look in the mirror. Because you see the physical from the outside. What they see is the pain that they're suffering from the inside. And that's what people don't want to acknowledge. There is a reason why people are running to substances to escape. There's a reason. We live in a world right now where a lot of people are suffering in silence. They don't talk about their problems. They don't talk about their pains. They don't talk about their traumas. There's something right now your mother could have did to you when you were 7 years old, and you could be 30 years old and it still bothers you to this day. But if you say that, you're wrong. My black folks, we need to acknowledge the fact that mental health is real, and we got to stop looking at therapy as a bad thing. Therapy actually is a good thing because it allows you to release. More of us need to acknowledge therapy and accept that it's extremely needed. It is a requirement at this point. And if you can't afford therapy, you should be finding someone to talk to that's neutral. And listen to the term I said, that's neutral. Not gender bias. And I say gender bias, meaning don't go to a woman that's only want to talk bad about men. Don't go to a man that only want to talk bad about women. That is gender bias. You don't want to go to someone like that. You want to go to someone who's neutral, who's hearing both sides of the coin, and they're listening to what could be the solution. Because the reality of all things is therapy is not going to fix the problem, but it helps you heal from the problem because it allows you to acknowledge the problem. You cannot fix what you cannot see. Two open eyes with a closed mind is a dangerous mind. Notice, your eyes could be wide open, but your mind could be every bit so closed. There are a lot of people right now who have open eyes but closed-minded. That is a dangerous individual. That is a dangerous individual. You have to open your eyes and your mind to be able to receive new information. One cannot receive new information if the eyes or the mind are closed. Open eyes plus an open mind means a very dangerous person in a positive way. That person is ready to receive new information. We've been so closed off from the world that we don't see that our issues have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. A lot of us are closed off to the world. We closed off. We standoffish. If you say something remotely against how I feel, it becomes a problem. I'm going to say this on record. Feelings and opinion do not trump experience. A person that's been through trauma understands trauma. When a person is telling you how they feel about it, you have to receive it whether you like it or not. Moms and dads, if your children tell you things that make you feel uncomfortable about how you raised them, you have to be able to receive it because it's how they made them feel. It's how it made them feel. It's not about how you feel about how you made them feel. It doesn't even make sense. But if we acknowledge these problems, we're going to always have issues because we don't acknowledge the reality. Most children misbehave on the outside because of how they feel about themselves on the inside. Most adults misbehave on the outside is because of how they feel about themselves on the inside. We project how we feel. And we're suffering in silence. Too many of us aren't acknowledging what's the real issue. The real issue is we have a lot of people who don't want to speak on the major problems. Suffering is real. Someone call in right now, 516-253-1150. Talk about a moment you're suffering in silence. And anyone that call in, I want to tell you I appreciate your vulnerability. 516-253-1150. Even if it's a positive story, something you got over, right? Something you were able to beat, something you experienced in your life, but now you've able to accept the fact that, you know what? I've been through a lot, but I want to give my testimony so I can help someone else. Your strength, right? These strong people that always brag about how strong they are don't realize how valid and how valuable their testimony is. There's someone sitting right now who is not as strong as you that need to hear your testimony, and it gives them strength. It helps them get over things, to recover, to continue to fight, to believe again. Some of us stop believing because we waiting for people to believe in us, but in reality, you got to believe in you before others can believe in you. You got to believe in yourself first. How are you expecting the world to receive you when you haven't received yourself? How are you expecting someone to believe in you when you haven't believed in yourself? How are you expecting the world to want to give you the greatest things in life, but you're not even willing to do it? Look get to this. Caller, what's going on, caller?
Hi, yes. I was just listening to your live, and I experienced a lot of similar situations. So I just want to say, thank you, and what you're doing is great, especially for I do have a teenage son that I feel like a lot of teenage boys would profit and will benefit from emotionally, mentally, and help them be comfortable with some situations that people go through, that life throws at us. So I just want to say thank you. I definitely have had to kind of put my feelings to the side, and I'm a sister. I have 4 younger siblings.
Okay.
I'm the only daughter, so definitely sometimes I have had to just kind of stay quiet, be the strong person, and it's hard to be the strong person all the time.
Of course
but
it is.
It's definitely it's like people expect us to be okay, but really don't know who we are,
Of course.
And sometimes, we're not, but we keep going, and that's what matters.
It does. But, we all making sure that we have to build a support system. We got to build our support system so we can help each other. And the one thing I want to tell you is I respect your vulnerability so much. And I tell people I'm pushing the vulnerability because of the fact of the matter is that's where the real strength is. It's not in hoarding, it's not in hiding and not pretending. It's in acknowledging the issues, right? And I want to tell you I love your strength, and I just want you to keep pushing. And you got my support. I'm here for you all day.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I love you, my sister.
I love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Wow.
Thank you.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You know, guys, we gotta be the strength for each other, man. And when you look at that fact of the matter is, my sister was able to call in and be vulnerable, and this is what we need. And like I say, we don't have to know each other to love each other. And this is what people don't understand. You don't have to know someone to love someone, right? I think every human being on earth should love people. They should be everyone. No matter how you slice it, we're all siblings and we're all related. But the war is wrong. We're fighting all the wrong issues. Let's fight mental illness. Let's fight generational curse. Let's fight traumas. Let's fight those things. There's somebody right now sitting on his live right now that's going through losing a parent and still haven't been able to be vulnerable. And when you see them act irate, you wonder why. They have never been allowed to feel, right? So they portray this strong imagery all the time, right? This is the issue. Guys, March 17th will be the first mental health clinic featuring Q the Boss, and I got a couple special guests that's gonna be there. Everyone need to be there. Every man, I want all my men there. Then followed by that one, I'm setting the date now for the female version of this one. We're working on each other, right? It's not about creating a toxic environment. It's about eliminate the toxic energy so we can create the new positive energy. But again, it's harder to change what you cannot see. And secondly, it's harder to fix what is not fixable when you don't have help. We need to get help. So let's create this environment. Let's work on each other. Again, March 17th will be the first men's mental health clinic featuring Q the Boss and the Empower Dynasty family. We will be in the building. We will be definitely talking about a lot of different issues. And we want to hear it. We're going to do roundtable talk. A lot of us are going to be able to vent, talk about our lives, and give each other our vulnerability. And what I'm trying to create is a men's club for men, and I'm trying to create a women's club for women. And I want to be a part of both, fixing the culture, moving the culture forward. In order to fix, we must acknowledge what is wrong. In order to acknowledge what's wrong, we have to accept that we have issues. You can only fix the issue that you can see. If your person is not willing to accept that they have issues, you're going to continue to hide your issues. The worst mask you'll ever see is a person that puts a false face on themselves and believe their own mask. That is the worst person you can see. Listen to that again. The worst person in the world that you can see that put on a mask is a person that puts a mask and he disguises himself from himself. That is the worst person. So you put on this mask and you believe the person that you're pretending to be, because most people believe that strength is showed in the fact that you're able to act like you're strong when you're not strong. That is actually weak. That is actually weak. Vulnerability is the catalyst for strength. So let's allow each other to be vulnerable again. Let's stop disrespecting each other and start understanding where people come from, so therefore we can understand where we're going. If we can't acknowledge where we've been, we can't acknowledge where we're going. And if you keep talking about why this person behaves in such way, we got to figure out, because it's an underlying issue that we just cannot see. But if we don't allow this person to be vulnerable, we'll never know why. So men, in order for us to fix each other, we got to work on each other. Women, for us to fix each other, we got to work on each other. Our clinic will be like a hospital. It is about fixing each other and working on each other. And all the foolishness, we're going to kick it out the door. We're coming in to help each other. Let's build a judgment-free zone, because my story and your story might not be the same stories. So again, we're working on each other this year. March 17th will be the first men's mental health clinic, followed by the women's mental health clinic that I'll be doing a month after, 2 months after. Again, till next time, guys. I love you. I respect you. But I want to say this before I get out of here. Ladies, if God is your father and God is my father, that makes you my sister. Men, if God is your father and God is my father, that makes you my brother. So I ask myself right now, what father will bless his children for always hurting his siblings? What father will help you for hurting your sibling? So the problem is all we do is hurt each other. Let's work on each other. Let's stop talking bad about each other, start seeing what the issues are, and start working on each other. Until next time, guys, don't let that go over your head.